Hi, my name's James O'Neill. I'm doing this video from Cornwall, United Kingdom. It's Friday the 13th. Unlucky for some, but you shouldn't follow that rule. You know, it is what it is. It's just another day. I'm going to call this video Do you remember Harriet Harmen's coercion law? Now, Harriet Harmen pushed and pushed and pushed with different laws that put men into a box, that men bad, women good. And one of the laws that she brought about was the law of coercion, where men persuade women to give up their, well, it's not give up the freedom, it's where men have this way of putting women that they feel they are in the wrong, and they reward them with little things to make them slaves. So they coerce women into being their slaves. And that's what Harriet Harmen did. She brought this law into place where a man can be charged with coercion. And it's basically enslavement. Playing with her mind. Playing with her right to freedom. Her universal right to freedom. I could even say her God-given right to freedom, but Harriet Harmen won't have that. And I talked about this in, it must have been maybe just over a year ago, about Rosie Duffield, the Labour MP. And I'll see if I can find a video of it, because I've not got it at the moment, but it's somewhere about. And I'll see if I can find it, where Rosie Duffield MP, she was single, she'd split up from her boyfriend, long-term boyfriend. And this is a woman who, I think she was late 30s, early 40s. And she came to Parliament to give a speech about how this man had exerted coercion on her and he'd controlled her. He had controlled her with in all sorts of ways. And it was mind control. And that's basically what she was saying. She was saying that an educated woman, Rosie Duffield, an MP, came to Parliament and said that this man had controlled her mind and controlled her behaviour in little ways. The law of coercion. And this was part of the law of coercion coming into Parliament, where men can be charged with mind control of a woman. And she gave this speech and she had the two women MPs on either side of her. It was like theatre, because it's TV, you see. They know how to sit. One of the classics examples, these MPs know exactly why they sit where they sit, and they sit there for a reason. And when you see them nodding and pulling their faces, it's theatre. I always remember one MP, she was sat right behind the front bench, the fucking idiot, Corbyn, and she had like a low-cut blouse on with all frills, and she was quite bosomy. And she sat there, which is fair enough, you know. She was like in her 50s, early 50s, and she leaned forward, but she clasped the together because she knew. It's theatre. They're actors. So Rosie Duffield, when she gave this trembly lip speech about how this man had controlled her and how she felt awful about herself, she felt she was always in the wrong, and finally she got her mind together and she threw him out. Well, she didn't throw him out. She changed the locks while he was at the gym. So when he came back, he couldn't get into the flat. But she talked about his coercive behaviour. So where am I going with this? Well, we are being coerced. The population of this country is being coerced with mind control into believing that we are in the wrong. We believe that we are spreading a virus. We believe that we are responsible for thousands and thousands of deaths by our behaviour. Students, they got students to go back to university, and then within a week they locked them down. And they've passed laws, whether the laws, I'm not going into it, common law or not, I'm not really asked, but Parliament believe they have the power to lock down students. And they straight away, when you had Freshers Week, the TV companies were showing the terrible, awful behaviour of students. All in bars, all in the streets, all close together, totally ignoring social distancing. And then this justified the lockdown of students because of their bad behaviour. Mind control. That's what Harriet Harmen was on about. Convincing the men, convincing women that they are in the wrong all the time, so they then do things to please the man. Well, we have to do things to please the government, and it's not just Conservatives. I read a comment the other day. I saw a supposed psychologist. We have to realise what the Conservative government are doing. It's not the Conservative government, it's Parliament, it's all of them. They're all in on it. Scottish Nationalists, Liberals, Plaid Cymru, Unionists, Sinn Féin, Conservatives, Liberals and Labour. They're all in on it. It's Parliament that passed the law the other day, which I'll go on about in a minute. But that's coercive behaviour. That's mind control. That's what Harriet Harmen was talking about. And we are being coerced into believing that we are terrible, awful people. So then we accept what they tell us is for our good. Like those bad men tell women in Rosie Duffield. Because Rosie Duffield has had personal experience of it. And that's what a speech was. I'll find a speech. And she's talking about coercive behaviour, when really she's an educated woman who took in a knobhead. And she actually makes out that coercive behaviour is giving her presents. This man gave her presents. He bought her things. That was to control her. Well, that's what they're doing with us. They've told students now that they can go home for Christmas if they have the test or take the vaccine if it's out by then. Well, the vaccine won't be out. So what they're doing is they're telling students that, because they've told students you can't go home for Christmas. You're locked down. They're locked in. When I say they're locked in, a lot of students are locked into their halls of residence because someone in the building tested positive. So then they're all by association are guilty. Coercive behaviour. By association they are guilty. By their behaviour they are guilty. Which is what Harriet Harmen's law was about. Women by their behaviour are made to feel guilty by the control of the men. So students have been told they are being rewarded with a present, just like Rosie Duffield's boyfriend rewarded her. With presents, he gave her presents, which then made her feel good. But then that deepened the control, you see. According to Harriet Harmen and Rosie Duffield and Jess Phillips and all the other like whingy, whiny fucking Labour MPs. And the students believe they are being given a gift by being allowed home. But there is a condition to the gift. Just like there is always conditions to the gift of a man in coercive behaviour. It means that the woman's got to give him sex at night and she's got to do special things, because like she feels guilty that she's got to make him happy. Well, we have to make the students have to make the government happy by taking tests and then submitting to the controlling of the contact tracers. And do you remember I've told you in my old channel, I told you that they wanted you to go in pubs so that you could register, and then somebody gets COVID, then they've got all these people that have been flooded, that they've got the names and addresses. Well, they want the students to go home, they'll test some, and then they'll find some that are positive, and they'll say, you can't go home for Christmas. Then the ones who can go home, who've tested negative, feel ever so grateful to the government for the gift of being allowed to go home to see the parents and spend Christmas with their family. They'll feel grateful. Mind control. That's mind control. That's coercive behaviour. Controlling behaviour. So they'll go home and then they'll come back, but one of the conditions of going home will be that they're tested when they come back. And then all of a sudden they'll find that a lot of them have got COVID. And then the contact tracers move in, and then the contact tracers get in touch with their family, then they're all tested, and then they're all put on lockdown. This nation is part of a coercive mind control experiment. And it's not just here, Australia. Dan Andrews, Melbourne, Victoria. 2 weeks ago, he was crying. I am now announcing, I'm proud to announce, that I am lifting the lockdown on the people of Melbourne because we have conquered the virus of corona. See, he gave the gift of freedom, a gift that was theirs anyway, but that he's had that controlling behaviour for 6 months, or is it more, where the people of Melbourne have suffered the most draconian laws of lockdown than anyone else on the planet. But we now have more subtle laws because Parliament, not just the Conservatives, like these people try to say, it's Boris and it's just the Conservatives. It's not, it's Parliament. Parliament have controlled us with that law that no more than 2 people are allowed to assemble in protest. That's coercive behaviour. That's control. That's mind control. That's abuse. Because that's what Harriet Harmen's law was all about. Abuse of women by men by their controlling behaviour. Well, this whole nation, I'm not talking about Scotland because you've got Jimmy Willie Cranky, it's up to you to sort that out. Fuck you. Fuck you with your Jimmy Willie Cranky. And fuck anybody who backs a fucking Labour or Liberals or fucking Tories. I told you. Don't trust Boris, don't trust Nigel Farage, don't trust any of them. What's my book about? My book, what I hold up for you, it's on the shelf over there. But my book, I say, stop voting. But you'll all learn eventually. But you're going to learn the hard way. The students who think they know it all are going to learn the hard way. They have to learn the hard way. They're the best lessons. The population of this country is going to learn the hard way. Well, the hard lessons are the best lessons because you don't forget. Scotland's just outlawed smacking. You can't smack your own child when your child's naughty or your child does something wrong. And then there's definitions of what's wrong. But you're going to fucking jail or you're getting a massive fine if you do what they tell you is wrong. You can't smack your own child in Scotland, but you will receive a massive fine, your business will be bankrupted, you will be shut down, you face the possibility of prison, either for the offence or for not paying the fines. And you're being locked down and you're not allowed to, that's control, but you're not allowed to smack your child. Scotland are proud that they're the first to outlaw smacking your own child, which is called discipline. But the government is disciplining us. There's no problem with the government when it disciplines us, because no more than 2 people are allowed to assemble in protest at anything, not just COVID, anything. That law can be applied to anything. One rule for them, one rule for us. So I'll see if we can dig that video of Rosie Duffield. I was going to talk about a few other things. I could talk about Trump and Biden, but there's no point. It's up to people. Let it develop a bit more. I've got my opinions, I'm watching things, and I've said things a long time ago. I actually said before the election, after the election, your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube, all your other media companies, they are going to desubscribe people so that there is no contact between people. It's not just isolating you in your own with this lockdown stuff. We're going to be locked down on the internet. Anyone who doesn't agree with them is going to be isolated. My channel got suspended. Dale H, the Aussie guy, he got suspended. Lots of people have been suspended. Lots of people have been thrown off. That's coercive behaviour. That's control. That's like taking a woman's shoes off her so she can't go out. That's like telling her she's wrong about everything and punishing her in various ways by mind control. I told you, ages ago before the election that that's what they were going to do after the election, but they actually started it. I mean, these things that are happening have like surprised me, but I'm not surprised. They actually did it before the election. I got suspended before the election. I am suspended. My suspension was a fortnight. I came back, made a video within hours of getting back on. I was then suspended again till January the 19th. I've had another video taken down, and I've now been added on to my suspension, and I'm suspended till February the 5th. I am isolated from telling people stuff on my older channel. The students have been isolated, and they're going to be isolated even more. They want students to go home and then come back, and they will test them again, and funny, haha, they will have COVID, which then means track and trace, go after the families. There was a young kid in the store where I work. He's got a big yellow fluorescent jacket on, you know, like a road worker, but he's not got road working or labourer's gear on. He's only got track and trace on the back. He works for track and trace. This young kid had come in for sandwiches, so he must be working somewhere in a unit or something near where my store is. I looked at it. He was about 18, 19. Now I know of somebody who was 18 who worked for him who was on good money. Just on a computer. Beep, 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 you know, with the voice thing. Loved the job. Great little job. Dead fast with the fingers. That's a new career. That's going to be part of the GDP of this country, track and trace. It's not going away. They're not suddenly going to dismantle this system and fucking sack everybody. It's part of the coercive behaviour of controlling the population of this country with mind control techniques. And what happened in Melbourne, Australia, was a great learning lesson. They are now taking a break. They're still doing stuff. They're still controlling the people. The police are still on the streets, and they're arresting people if they're not social distancing. They're allowed out, but they've got to keep the social distance, and they're not allowed out in large groups, like we're not allowed to protest in groups of more than 2. So they've still got all the coercive control things, yet Dan Andrews told people that he was like releasing them, giving them their freedom. He wasn't. He was giving them the illusion of freedom. I'm going to do a video on fucking Marty Fokker, the fucking idiot, shouting freedom, we've won. You've won fuck all. We've won nothing. Nothing's, when I say we, I'm not included because I'm isolated. When I say isolated, I'm not part of any group. I'm just an individual who talks to people. And if people talk to me, I'll talk back. You've got to be an individual with God to understand what's going on and to get through what's coming. I'll leave it there because I'm only doing 15-minute videos. I could extend it, but I just can't be bothered registering with YouTube so I can get another more than 15 minutes because I'm not prepared to go there yet. So, Harriet, Harmen, coercive behaviour.